Hello everyone. Om Shanti. Shalom. Salam Alaikum. Happy Memorial Day. I don't know how to say this, but um, it's not like you've stayed home and did you have a great weekend vacation. I don't even know how everyone's patterns are right now. If you're one of the many who are just going out and swarming the beaches or going on a boardwalk or just spending more time because you're just like so done with staying home. And that's a normal reaction or sense of response. But I know that for us, we also continue to stay in and just continue to keep, we hosted a retreat which ended yesterday, right? It's so long, so we hosted a retreat that ended yesterday. And today was actually a quiet day for us. And it turned out that, what was the time, Santosh? Between, I think it was 11 to 1 or so, we ended up doing 3 productions between that time, one for India, one for a network, and one for a new addition to the family. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. I just found out about this one. Starting on Wednesday, we're going to have a new segment called Wise-ish. Now, everyone laughs at me because I used to stutter a lot that I couldn't finish a sentence. So they must have filmed like 20 times me going, Wise-ish. Oh, so we're so excited to welcome Wise-ish. I just couldn't do it. So after doing it for 20 times, they go, just say wise-ish. And I go, oh, I can do that. So anyway, starting this Wednesday, which is day after tomorrow, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45 a.m., that's it. On the America Meditating YouTube, we will offer 15 minutes of absolute wise-ish moments, shifting fear into love. So I hope you'll join me. And today, I hope everything got produced well. Lou came on and we ended up talking a little bit about addiction. So we're not sure fully how it will unfold, but it will have, in terms of guests, if we will have it, it's just 15 minutes. But the intention is to have that 15 minutes of internal curing. It's like your daily dose for your inner cure. So from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. ET on the America Meditating YouTube, you will have your wise-ish moments live. And we'll get a chance to ask questions and answer your questions and share laughters and tears and joys and pains, but also realizations. So put that down on Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. on the America Meditating YouTube and Facebook. We will do this special segment Monday through Friday. Don't think I'm taking on too much, but it's because in the mornings I finish a class every day for advanced students. So I'm usually done by about maybe 8 o'clock or so, 8 o'clock, 8:10. So between that, it gives me like a good half an hour downtime to prepare for the 8:30. Then I'll just go into the next studio, which is to my left, which is for the AM, the America Meditating. So I'm excited about that. So it's all about forgiveness today, yeah? But the power of forgiveness. That's a big topic. And I think it's a process, it's a journey, it's each of us can approach it at different levels because of where we are at that particular time. You've had experiences, I'm sure, with certain people that they did something, you got upset, but you were able to forgive them. And then there are some interactions or situation that we've had that we felt this is unforgivable. Unforgivable. It's someone that you trust. It's someone that you relied on. It's someone that the least you would have expected them was to have a short moment and to betray everything inside of you that you thought was at least valuable to both of you. And instead, it seems as if they didn't value it at all. Today is Monday meditation. And I think you've heard enough about forgiveness, eases your heart. In order to forgive, you need to be humble. This is a big one. Humility is a virtue required to forgive, to allow the soul to forgive, because a lack of forgiveness is also connected to a great deal of ego. And I know we hate to admit that. But have you ever been in a particular situation where the person who was wrong, let's say if something happens to them really bad, there's almost like a little gloating going on inside of you. But if something ever happened good to them, you can't celebrate them. But then there's also another aspect to this. The individual who did something wrong changed and became a better person. And now it's left up to you to make the effort to speak with them and to really move on. But you find that you are still struggling to make that call. You're still struggling to send that text. You're still struggling to go to see them, even though you know they have changed and everyone has told you they have changed. They're not like what they used to be. They're so sorry about what they did. But you go, I can never forgive them for this. That's all because that's connected to still our element of arrogance and ego of the intellect. So again, forgiveness isn't just about the other person needs to tell me they're sorry, or the other person should still go through what you feel they deserve. It's nothing to do with that. I have found that, and I want to offer you this particular advice as we go into a deep dive into our Meditation Monday today, because it's all about forgiveness. But I've found that when I don't do or say the right thing at the right time, or when you don't do and say the right thing at the right time, that amplifies my love. And there's hurt exchanged between the both of us. And I carry that and hold that for a long time. It's because I am not knowledgeable or wise enough to recognize there must have been a reason behind the power of that person's choice. Why did they choose to do that? So I started to think about how when you go to astrologers, they tell you what's in your future. If you go to numerologists, they tell you what's in your future. If you go to a psychic, they'll tell you what's in your future. If you go to a medical intuitive, it's almost as if something is written already, something is preordained to happen to us. And I know that's sometimes a hard pill to swallow. But the reason why I want to introduce this, I think it's imperative in order for us to understand the soul is an actor playing a part in this unlimited drama, and we have a script that's preordained. And the quicker I can accept that the reason that person said that, did that, shouldn't have done that, maybe it's written in the script. How do I accept the script is important, which I would do it in the context of they had to play that part. That person had to do that. And I'd like you to really think about the level of freedom that gives you. When, like a lot of times when we come into the studio, I told you before, it's exactly at that time Sister Gita comes in. She wants that, she wants this, she wants to come in front of the camera, she wants to, and it has nothing to do with the production work at the moment. She has to play that part. Now, very rare I'll get really firm with her because I have a lot of respect for my elders. But I'll get firm because as sweet as I am, she'll come and she'll continue. And I have to get harsh. And even when I get harsh, I'm not feeling good about me. I have to forgive myself for that. And she still doesn't hear me. So I wonder, why do I even do that to myself? Let me forgive you, Jen. That's not you. That's not who you are. But it seems you had to play that part at that time. But another part in you becoming the hero of your own story, the victor of your own story, is to say, but that's not me. And so I'm going to let that go. I'm much nicer than that. So if you can even offer that quality of forgiveness to yourself, you can do the same for others. There are thoughts that get built up in your head that make you exacerbate the scenario or the event that took place between you and another person. And that makes it harder for you to forgive the person. Because then you start to think about, how could they, how long did they lie to me? It goes on and on. So the thought process of that adds to the ego, the attachment to the past, the energy of the emotion that you went through. And as you keep feeding the emotion of that experience, your interpretation starts to get so deeply recorded. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness. She doesn't deserve my forgiveness. And it's coming from a place of ego. And when you feel that you just can't forgive that person, when you go deep inside of the soul, which is who you are, that's your eternal spark, that's where your eternal life is, that's you, the soul. Whenever you find yourself not able to forgive, check if you feel like you're not breathing. Check. Right now, emerge a person or a bunch of people who didn't care about the way you would feel when they played out their part. And deeply feel like you can forgive them. And feel that subtle resistance that starts to take place. Just a subtle resistance that starts to take place. That's you not breathing. That's you struggling to grab breath. And what would it take if I just released them and let them go? Let's listen to this wonderful message from Sister Genty and a meditation on really what forgiveness is, because I think it sets a tone for tonight's Monday meditation.
When I allow my heart to be generous, then in that generosity of spirit, I can let go and forgive and be able to find the freedom that I've always wanted. Let's experiment with a few minutes of meditation on the subject of forgiveness. Going on that inner journey, many thoughts come my way. And I don't pause to look at all the things that are distracting me. I stay on the course of going deeper and deeper inside. I find memories, photographs that are imprinted on my mind. But not only the scenes, different memories come and they stir different feelings within the soul. I ask myself, what are the feelings I want to nurture and support? feelings of pain, of suffering, or the feelings of love and joy. I know what I want, and so I decide I want to finish the memories of the pain and sorrow. So why am I holding on to those? I realize I haven't been able to forgive those who caused me pain and sorrow. I still hold them responsible. I haven't been able to do anything about it on an external level, but I still blame them and carry those feelings of being a victim. But now I come to a decision. I want to be able to let go of sorrow. And I can only do that if I take the power of love from God and allow my heart to be open and generous. And in that generosity of spirit, I let go. I let go of the thought of being a victim. I've learned lessons from the past. I hold those lessons. But now I want space. I want freedom. And I bid farewell to the oppressor and the situation. And with the power of love, not only forgive, but also put a full stop. I let go. I forget. I hold a memory of truth, a memory of beauty, of joy. I have the power to choose my memories. I close the chapter of sorrow and hold the memories of joy. A burden has shifted. I feel free and light. The road ahead is open. I can move as swiftly as I choose, now that I am free. Om Shanti.
Welcome back. Was that soothing for the mind and the body? Did you get a chance to tap into the essence of the force of that meditation? I will confess that my understanding of why we struggle with forgiveness, and we can add beautiful scaffolding to the story as to why we should not forgive, and it will be valid. It's valid what they did, their lies, their deception, their cheating, their abuse, their trauma, yes. And the way we expand on it as well. But if you've stopped living, and if you stopped feeling free, and if you're no longer at peace with yourself, then that's not good. We have to come to that point where feeling normal with having that sense of breath, where that resistance or that hate or that dislike becomes an abnormal experience inside of the soul. Because it isn't normal to walk around in life and hold hurt in the heart. And it's like a shadow that goes with you until you release it. And it rolls its energetic consequences over to all the relationships that I encounter. Even with relationships that are doing very, very good, if I still have that energy that I don't forgive this person for what they've done, then that vibration is also subtly perhaps going a little bit into that relationship that might stimulate some reality in which a person will come up and not be trusted. It could be a friend for 10 years and all of a sudden something happened. Did you play a part in that? Have you rolled over your lack of forgiveness in the connections that you now forge? So when I ask you to look into the power of your forgiveness, my intention is to ask you to connect the power of forgiveness to a deep sense of your inner freedom. A deep connection to your inner contentment. A deep connection to your inner peace. If when you think of that person, those people, or that situation, and your heart isn't free, that's on you. And even if you use your interpretation of why you will be the warrior, to stand firm and to defend, so to speak, your principle, your values, your virtue, then I might defend honesty, but being at peace becomes less. So there's still room for improvement. And on one side, we can intellectually sort things through, but you'll always end up to see, well, is the heart at peace? Or is it still a raging bull? I really believe this whole journey forward to forgiveness has a lot to do with an ego crunching. And I know that's sometimes hard to accept because what the person has done was unforgivable. Maybe even to that person they're also having to go through an ego crunching for having to do what they did to you. But now, this particular period of my life isn't about them. I've told the story in the past. If you've heard some of my radio shows on America Meditating, I've spoken about something that sat in my heart for quite a long time. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago in Christmas when we were in Florida or something. I'd asked this question, how to get the hurt out of the heart. And I knew it had nothing but this person coming to apologize to me. It wouldn't even fix that. What I was carrying was the feeling of not only that no one deserves to speak to you in a particular way, or no one deserves to isolate you, or no one deserves to defame your character in large numbers of people. All of that is valid. No one deserves it. But then I don't know what I've done in my karmic journey to have also attracted that energy. That was one thing that I thought about. The second thing that has come to my mind is, why was I so sensitive? And I wasn't in the power or the conviction of who I believed I am. Marky, I was in my 20s. I was still very young and very impressionable, 22, 23. It was a very tender years as a young woman growing up anyway, much less to say. But, you know, you believe in things, and you can believe in people, and you can believe in loves and in relationships and in governments and in religion, but you find it very hard to believe in you. So when something on the outside comes to attack you or to perform an action such as dishonesty, betrayal, infidelity, at that moment your anger or your disappointment reveals how much you think you are important and worthy, because they have no right to do that to you. But when you recognize that they have done you something very wrong and unjust, and you start to get angry and upset, and you maybe start to believe them, or you allow the hurt to go so deep, watch how you stop loving. Watch how it becomes very hard for a natural power in the soul to flow through your eyes, through your words, through your heart, through your intention towards that person. You stop loving them, and your ego starts to increase. And that hurts you more and more. And each time that hurt is fed, whether it's that person or you energetically attract 10 more people along the way, the hurt increases, because I'm not addressing where's the source of my illness. Maybe an attachment to a false identity. So, if we can look at humbling ourselves and really begin to ask the self, why is it so hard for me to let go of this scenario? The ego will twist your thinking around to tell you, well, you're the one that has to stand up for everyone. Well, you have to fight for this because what they did was wrong. Well, it'll give you all these reasons, but the heart is getting so achy. It's getting so broken up into pieces. It's being burnt. It could be burnt by jealousy. It could be burnt by anger, that you are damaging yourself. So it's making you powerless. And that's making you roll that over in many of your other relationships. So let's take a pause here and take it another level of deep feeling of forgiveness. And I invite everyone watching today, listening, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, Vimeo or Twitter, maybe text a friend that maybe you might be having an issue with, and maybe just say, I just bumped into something that I thought would be good for us, or I just thought of you. And I'll give you just a few seconds. If you're resisting doing it, you can see what's going on, right? And if you go, I want to get over this hump, then you'll be like, I just want to, I'm on this program. Hey, try this link out. I hope you're doing well. I was thinking of you. See if it releases and see if your love starts to flow again. You know, it just becomes natural. So let's take a deep breath, dear friends. And exhale. Let that love in. Let's go into a deeper level of forgiving the self and others.
I become quiet, reflecting slowly on how to release myself from the bitter feelings against someone, against myself, against life. I become quiet. I slow down my thoughts, my emotions, and decide to live in the now, to say yes to the new opportunities that each day offers. As I gently concentrate, as I become more peaceful, I decide to finish my complaints about the past, about incidents, about people that wounded me. I decide to release myself from guilt and regret. I choose to see and remove my blindness. I choose to remove my ache and heal the wound. In silence, in peace, in self-respect, in the consciousness of my original goodness, I let go of all blame. In humility, I do not accuse anyone for my pain, for my problem, for my sorrow. I stop accusing. Now, I have learned about taking responsibility to create my own happiness, my own freedom, especially my own well-being. I realize it doesn't depend on anyone else. In confidence, with a deep feeling of love, of kindness, I embrace forgiveness. And as I give these feelings, these good feelings, to others and to myself, I truly feel liberated. I feel at peace with myself. I feel healed. And I do ask, why hold on? Why this anger? Why this blame? I keep giving to myself love, trust, hope, and especially a new opportunity to live more peacefully, more positively. With courage, I embrace what I resented. I embrace what I had misunderstood. I embrace the injustice and truly feel released from these twisted feelings in my heart. Released from the heaviness in my mind. I have learned to say, it doesn't matter. Let go. I accept. I transform my feelings. And in this embrace of acceptance, I learn. I forgive, I forget. And now, I move on. I move on. And through this embrace of forgiveness, I become whole. I feel reconciled to myself and to the other. I feel understood by the universe, by God, and especially by my own inner self. I am fully released, and my being is serene and restored. My mind and my heart are now well. I understand this drama of life and accept the parts of the actors and realize that everything is for a reason. And in this, I find the capacity to accept and to learn. This embrace of forgiveness makes me whole, makes me peaceful, makes me tolerant, makes me free, completely free.
I'd like to ask you to just pause for a little. Just pause. And observe if you're settled deeply inside beyond all the waves of emotions, all the excuses and all the reasons. Have you gone beyond the waves and gone into the depths of who you are? A lot of times we'll say we've forgotten and we've forgiven, or rather we don't forget but we forgive. And maybe people will even accuse you of being too light on others. That, oh, you let him go so easy, or you let her go so easy, and then you're walking and moving around in life and you think you're fine. But then you bump into that person again and it's like, ugh. Has that ever happened to you? You're like, and all those feelings come right back up again. And what that says to you and me is we were just on the waves. We need to do some deeper work. Some deeper work. Mm-hmm. So when you get that feeling, you have to be honest, something I talk a lot about. Be very truthful, but also very courageous. And just say, why is my ego holding me hostage? Look at them, they seem so happy, they've moved on. And I'm still here fiddling my thumbs going, So who's got the problem now? Have you ever thought about visualizing your inner state of being completely pure and fragrant and absolutely unlimited, untouched, unmoved by any darkness in the world outside of you or even anywhere near in you? Like, what would you be? What would you really, how would your energy function on the planet if there was no more hurt or hate or inability to let go and forgive somebody? What would your character and your personality feel like? If even when you bump into that person, the same emotions come over you, how much is that eating away at the divinity and the power that you possess? Right? So when it comes to forgiveness, we have to do the deeper work. And we have to come to that place inside of ourselves. The opposite of ego is wisdom, knowledge. The opposite to attachment is love. You have to look at these two areas. The abuse that happens because of attachment and ego on ourselves because of the way we think, whether it's resistance, separation, anger, manipulation, deception, whatever it might be. Even sometimes we can get so angry. I was sitting at a table with a producer, and this producer had been very hurt by his employer. And I was sitting with an engineer and a producer at the table. And this particular person said something that was private between him and the person that had hurt him, who's a very well-known figure, in front of me to the engineer. And as I watched that scene, let's say he says, oh, and he robbed $1 million from the bank. Let's just say that. And he got away with it. It didn't happen, but... And I sat there and I looked at him and I said, wow, he's still hurt by that soul, huh? He wants to defame him to such an extent that he loses all credibility. So sometimes when we also lack forgiveness, we will allow a certain kind of a justification to inspire us to say things that puts down the character or the nature of that person. And that becomes karma. And that sets a tone in the atmosphere. And when it comes back, we don't like it. So when I accept that what people are doing is the part that they've come to play, and that requires a lot of internal strength. Have I forgiven everyone that has done me harm? I have gone beyond the surface and I'm inside. I've accepted this is the part they had to play. But now the only part that's left in me, build your strength, Jen. Build your self-worth. Build your self-respect. It's not really about them anymore. Now it's on you. They've moved on. They're doing their thing. What about you? So you'll always have it coming back to you. Okay? It's a big topic, right? Somebody said we should have a part 2 to it. It's a normal feeling. So, Ashley, welcome back. Hope I answered your questions. Christina, thank you so much. I hope I've answered also your questions. Laura, thank you for the good wishes of the beautiful meditation. Nicole, I hope that offered some insights. Oh, here's a good one. Arlene Cipriano. Hello, Arlene. Welcome, darling. So your question is, how can you forgive souls that already leave their bodies? That's an easy one. When they come up in your mind, really, really send them your peaceful, loving, good wishes. My father passed away a few years ago and I had to do a FaceTime eulogy. But apart from that, I had to go to the hospital after traveling internationally for a few months, coming back, doing a massive conference in New York with world leaders. Then the next 2 days I had to come back and go to meet with the family and him to be the decision maker in what do we do. And even though my last 20 years, I really hadn't spent much time with my father at all. I had been more on service, traveling. The world had become my child, my mother, my father. So a lot of the work that we do in the Brahma Kumaris is also behind the scenes. It's this, spiritual vaccine and videoing and stuff. Yes, we always do that. But if you were to see behind the scenes, 80% of our work is with people at a very local and grassroots level, but also at a very influential level. And that's really the crux of our foundation. So I had not been with him for almost 20-something years. And here it is, I had to go to make this decision for the family. And he came up in my mind, Arlene, about a year ago, or a few months later, and then a year later. And it was like, I didn't spend much time with him at all. So the moment he came up in my mind, I just gave him my blessings and said, I know you're okay, and I know you've moved on. It's my pure wish that you will, I believe in rebirthing, especially if you haven't finished all your issues here. The energy in the soul will definitely pull you back in skin so that you get another chance to learn more. If you've done it all perfect, God, Baba, here I come, one shot, one rocket ship straight up to you. So when he was emerging in my mind, it was just blessings, good wishes, and because there were no limits, at the human level, it was just mostly spiritual. It was much easy. It's sort of like people nowadays on Zoom are sharing. They're finding it easier to have a relationship with people than when they were seeing them face to some extent. And that's also fascinating. So now another story, when my grandmother passed away, I don't know if she was thinking of me or I was thinking of her, because I had a lot of affection for her. But I would kind of surround her with God's light, Arlene. Like wherever you are, just keep Baba's light, like just letting God's light be around her soul as she moved along. And I knew that would be the most important thing. The third thing you can do is write them a letter about how you really deeply feel and what forgiveness or even blessings you wish to have. Then read the letter over, extend it as if you're giving it to God, and then burn it. It's a great feeling. So I hope that answered your question. Opposite to ego is wisdom. Yes, yes. Hi Vashti, Om Shanti. Hello Diane Muniket. Love your name. All right, Christina, so I hope that answered your question. And Ashley, I hope I also answered yours, because I was reading them and looking at them. You know, once we get enough wisdom about ourselves, we are released. We are released from our past. We're released from these games that we play with ourselves all the time, all the time. A big shout out to our wonderful sister, Lindia Grant, who's got a beautiful radio show on Lindia, if you're on again, still send me your radio station, but wonderful show. Pavel, so nice to have you. Keep sending us all your wonderful guests for America Meditating Radio. We love you, and we love your support. Deshaun, Om Shanti, and Diane, Seti, Om Shanti, Sudha, sending you all so much unlimited love. Carmen Monerco, Monerio, thank you. Om Shanti. Pavel, so nice to see you on, my sweet brother. Hope you're managing well with the closing of everything, and I know your work is now maybe taking a different turn. All right, so we're coming to a close, right? Your favorite time of the evening, closing off on your spiritual vaccine hour, your daily dose for your inner cure. Anyway, thank you for all of your sharings and thoughts. Let me go on here. Mercedes, hola. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo está? Hope everything is well in Peru. Hello, Andy. Andy, it must be closed at the Strathmore. Andy is this wonderful, beautiful, beautiful man that I met at the Strathmore when we were guests of Ian Van Sant. And Andy, how old are you now? About 98, 99? And I swear, Andy's got more energy than a 16-year-old. And I just think he's such an inspiration. So thank you, Andy, for touching base. Wonderful. Shami, when the person constantly tells you that you are worthless and you don't deserve any good, get rid of them. They're not your friend. If you're married to them, tough one. If it's your in-law, yeah, that's a tough one. But one thing that I've learned is that when people keep telling you stuff like that, Shami, they're that. And that's why they can't help but to let it out. And maybe you are nothing near that. But the fact that when they see you, it makes them recognize how worthless they are. So you have to be clear of turning it around. But you promise me that you won't believe in that garbage. Because if you are willing to do the work, and if you're tuning into a program like this, there's no way you're worthless. There's absolutely no way you're worthless. So Shami, if it's somebody really close to you, I'm asking you, start a dialogue with yourself on your own in private about how good and worthy you are. You dress, you walk, you talk, you eat, you sleep based on your worthiness. And when you get that feeling where you are confirmed, like you're feeling a confirmation of that worthiness, and the moment is right and maybe the time is right, ever so often you say, I'm asking you today, please, I'm not giving you permission to say these words or to speak to me like this anymore. It's just not right, not for the well-being of our relationship or our world. All right, so please, please don't do this. I want to get over this hump, but the pain is so fresh. All the pain comes rushing up that how do I forgive someone who's actively looking for reasons to hurt more? Hear you. They're playing their part. Go back to that all the time. Because you and I have never had the power to change anyone, but we do have the power to change ourselves and the way we interpret the situation. I'm begging you, never must any woman especially allow anyone to make her think that she's less than. The only one that does that is you. Don't do it. The minute you start to have that vibration, you just attract it. So that's the work women have to do. Souls in female bodies, they have to do that deep work so that they can be strong enough to stand in their balance and in their power. How do you balance forgiving and being taken for granted or being too nice? So being taken for granted and being too nice means your goodness needs the balance of power. So there are a lot of good people in the world, but bad things are happening to them. And so that's because the energy of spiritual empowerment is needed. So I would recommend, at whatever cost, you contribute to time of your thinking of yourself as a soul, the type of soul you are. What was yesterday's session? I'm capable, I'm worthy, I'm powerful. To keep feeding these thoughts until you wake up one day so sure, oh my gosh, I can feel it, this is me. It won't become your conviction or nature until you remain consistent in the narrative. Okay? So just balance it with some spiritual empowerment, which is elevate the quality of your thoughts inside of yourself so that people won't have the energy or the courage to walk all over you. Sometimes it's going to happen, but it shouldn't be regularly, because it's a process of getting that energy up until it gets less. Okay, Nita? All right. So yes, Jane Huntington, it is a practice. It's an ongoing practice, and it eventually will give you spaciousness. I think that's Rinpoche Ghosh that also said something of that nature. All right, Tanya Harley, welcome. Usha, welcome. Miss Rue, Hina, Nita, Angela, my dear buddy Angela, welcome. Warm wishes. Tina, Nikki, Parveen, Kirit, Queen Rising, lovely to have you back. So wishing everybody well. Shobha, lovely to have you. Mita, Amin, Jennifer. How's Jennifer Scotland? All right. Listen, we're going to end with a lovely meditation now. I think it'll be really good. Just to remind everyone, Lydia Grant is on Radio 1, WYCB. Thank you, Antonia. You're always so thorough in making sure I stay on track. All right. So look, lots of love to everyone, huh? And this energy of forgiveness, we can talk more about it if you'd like at another segment. But I'll tell you this, everyone. Come to this place inside of you that you really are envisioning removing all hurts from the heart and just having God sit in there. Look at all the stuff we've done, and God still keeps giving. He doesn't find all the excuses why this child doesn't need love and protection. He just is Shiva, the constant giver. And if we're his child, we're supposed to be the same. So have a lovely night tonight. Rest well. Think well. Be well. And I'll see all of you tomorrow. Let's hold this moment of just spiritual silence, and Santosh will close up with a lovely meditation, just music and nice visuals. Take good care, everyone.